In the latest chapter of British political drama, Kemi Badenoch's candidacy for Conservative leader has sparked intrigue, especially given her alleged connections to some of the more shadowy figures of the destruction of Boris Johnson, figures like Michael Gove, Dominic Cummings, Doogie Smith. While Badenoch herself has firmly denied any notion of being controlled, insisting that nobody controls me and nobody puts anything into my head, the narrative surrounding her rise continues to swirl with speculation and controversy, particularly in the sphere of Nadine Dorries' journalistic efforts. Badenoch's rise has been closely scrutinised, with accusations from critics that her campaign is the product of a long-term orchestration by a clandestine group within the Conservative Party, and this narrative finds a particularly vocal proponent with Nadine Dorries, whose book The Plot, this sensationalist sort of page after page of verbiage-driven rubbish, very readable, dives headfirst into conspiracy theories that would make even the most seasoned thriller writers blush. I mean, if you've tired of reading Patterson and James Bond and all these things, Michael Crichton, read Nadine Dorries' book, The Plot. As long as you don't think it's real life, it's delightful. A page-turner. Nadine Dorries never want to shy away from controversy, paints a vivid picture of a cabal of Bond-themed villains whose singular mission is the destruction of Boris Johnson. And according to her, this group has not only conspired to topple Johnson, but is also hell-bent on installing Badenoch as their chosen puppet of preference. But of course they've got a lot of experience of puppets. Liz Truss, if you remember, with her puppeted hands, and even with all her efforts to manage genuine and realistic hand gestures, she can't do it. Her hand jobs are as mechanical as something out of Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons. But Badenoch is not going to be so much better, is she? I mean, I don't know anything about her hand job ability, but her competence in the House of Commons is questionable, and I particularly think of that moment when she was upbraided by the Speaker of the House of Commons, and she retorts with a sort of snarl and a sulk. That's not the behaviour of a leader. That's the behaviour of somebody from St Trinian's who's been caught smoking behind the bike shed. Dorries writes with characteristic flair, "In the darkened corridors of Westminster, they move like shadows, faceless but ever present, with one goal, to bring down the greatest leader Britain has ever known and replace him with a malleable figurehead." This line, though dramatic, encapsulates the feverish tone of her book. However, Badenoch's vehement rebuttal during Conservative hustings in Cirencester, where she faced down accusations of being Gove's pawn, reflects her determination to set the record straight. She has emphasised her independence, claiming that while Gove supported her due to their mutual backing in 2019, they have had their fair share of healthy disagreements. And whether these claims of autonomy will quell the rumours of an automaton rather than a puppet, will quell the rumours of conspiracy, remains to be seen. But, automata in the 18th century were often controlled underneath by unseen hands. Dorries' foray into political commentary, though, the plot's not her first literary endeavour, though it may be her most sensational. She's better known in literary circles for her page-turning novels set in the four streets of Liverpool, where she weaves tales of hardship, community and survival. Her depiction of life on the four streets, a far cry from life on the streets of power, on the corridors of power, on the outside Number 10, still carries her signature style, a blend of melodrama and unflinching observation. Take, for example, this one. Secrets festered like an open wound on the streets, waiting to be exposed under the dim glow of the street lights. But in the end, it was not the secrets that destroyed them, but the lies they told themselves. That could be about Boris, couldn't it? The sentiments could be so easily transplanted into the political arena Dorries now describes in the plot, a world where secrets and lies are currency and where the stakes are nothing less than the leadership of a nation. So as Dorries continues to juggle her dual roles as novelist and arch political commentator in the Daily Mail, snigger, her work has become a lightning rod for praise and criticism. Her book, The Plot, as mad as it may seem, offers a window into the mind of a politician who sees more than just policy battles. She sees grand narratives of betrayal, conspiracy, power struggles. She sees the stuff beyond the stained sofa. In a way, Dorries has become the storyteller of the Conservative Party history, albeit one with a flair for the dramatic and for the sensational and for the bodice-ripping. Her assertions in The Plot, complete with pool table, might be dismissed by some as the fantasies of a writer more comfortable with bodice-tearing fiction than fact, but for others they add a layer of intrigue to the political machinations of the current era. And as the Conservative Party moves forward towards selecting its next leader, the shadows of these narratives loom large. Badenoch's candidacy, supported or not by a shadowy cabal, represents a critical juncture for her party. Her success or her failure, even her name, Badenoch, will only determine the future direction of the Conservatives, and it may even reflect on the credibility of the conspiracies Dorries has so carefully outlined. Whether Badenoch is the independent leader she claims to be, or the product of a long-term strategy by Gove and his cohorts, one thing is clear. The Conservative Party is in the middle of a transformation, one that could see it renewed, fragmented, or destroyed. And as this drama unfolds, you can be sure that Dorries will be there to narrate it, pen poised, pen in hand, blending the lines between fiction and reality in her own inimitable, adjectival way, with slightly too many adverbs as well. In the end, whether you're reading The Plot or watching the latest leadership hustings, the world of British politics seems closer to a Dorries novel, full of intrigue, betrayal, and the occasional stained sofa. It's a highly readable story and a page-turner beyond belief.